right, we're going to go ahead and start. I appreciate everybody being here today. This is part of our small business workshop that the chamber offers. We're going to start back up again with the series after the first of the year. But my name is Steve Computer. I'm the president and CEO. If you don't already know who I am. Today we have Terri Welch. She's going to teach SWaM Certification. Terry's very active in the chamber. She is a prior small business winner and distinguished business winner for the chamber. So those are very prestigious awards that the chamber offers every year. So thank you, Terri, for being here today, and turn it over to you.
All right, thank you. It's exciting to be here with all these other small business owners. So I'm excited about this, but I'm also very nervous. So if I say a lot, you know why. I did bring with me today an expert in procurement. Crystal Hypes works with me part-time at Paint and Fun Ceramics, but she is the deputy director for procurement and contracts and procurement for the DMV. So she doesn't work here at the local office. She's out of Richmond, but works remotely and takes care of the purchasing. And she's also a speaker for the SBDC when they talk about SWaM certification. So she's an expert in that field. So I wanted to bring her along to answer questions at the end that I might not be able to answer, because although I am a SWaM certified business owner, I'm not an expert in procurement with the state. So that's why Crystal is here to answer those questions. So we're just going to talk about SWaM certification today. And then I have to figure out how to do this slideshow, maybe. It's not working, Alan. Nope. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Did I go too many? I thought so. Oh, yeah. So what is SWaM certification to start with? It stands for small woman-owned business and minority-owned business. Now, you don't have to be all three. You can be one or the other. So it doesn't exclude male-owned businesses. The purpose of the SWaM certification, it's a state program that's designed to help small businesses. So this began in 2006 with Governor Tim Kaine. He signed an executive order that focused on enhancing opportunities for small women and minority-owned businesses. So the state really put an emphasis on state agencies and other organizations doing business with small businesses. The goal was 40% of purchases. That's a lot of money that's out there for our small businesses. So we want to tap into that. In 2014, Terry McAuliffe signed another executive order further extending this and set a new target goal of 42%. That has since been raised to 50%. So 50% of all state funding they want handled by small woman and minority owned businesses. What an opportunity that is for all of us. The executive order also created a more robust system for evaluating and monitoring SWaM certification usage. So the state agencies have to prove, they have to show that they are actually using SWaM certified businesses. So why do you want to get certified? Well, I just went over some of those reasons, but the increased access to state contracts, that can be very lucrative for a business. Sometimes it's a little frustrating because you have to wait for your money, especially if you're a really micro business, but it gives you that opportunity and it opens up doors that you might not already have. We talked about the spending goal, the streamlined process. So for state agencies, it's super easy for them to do business with SWaM vendors if the purchase is under $10,000. So if you're a micro business, like most of my business that I do with the state, which is through Virginia Tech and Radford University and NRCC, doing events, those events are definitely under $10,000. They don't have to jump through a lot of hoops because I'm a SWaM certified business. So it helps them reach their spending goals for SWaM certification. You do get priority in procurement. So certified businesses often receive priority, and there are set-asides. A lot of departments with state agencies have set-aside money that can only be used for SWaM certified businesses. And then there's networking opportunities. You have the opportunity to network with procurement folks from around the state, learn what those procurement opportunities are. And then your marketing advantage as a SWaM certified business, it just helps with your marketing. We talked about, yes, of course.
Streamline process and $10,000, is that like $10,000 per transaction? Like if you had a contract, would it be 10,000 in the aggregate per year? Or could it be like
You'll have to ask the expert on that one, because
So in Virginia, it depends on what we're doing. So if you have a contract and it's the lifetime expectancy of that contract is, let's say, 5 years. Okay, so we have a 1-year contract with 4 1-year renewals. If that lifetime spend is over 10,000, you're not contracting with us like just right off. We have to do some sort of competition, whether it's a quick quote, if it's between 10,000 and 100,000, or if it's over 100,000, we have to do some sort of sealed solicitation. But and here's the other key. If you know that what you're gonna provide us is gonna cost you $15,000, do not give us 2 quotes for $7,500, because then you'll never do business with the state again, because then you just cheated the state, then separated an order into 2 to get around it. So that's a hint for something if you see it.
all right. So benefits, the big benefits are the statewide visibility. So you do get listed in the SWaM directory. And so if a department head doesn't necessarily know about your business, but they know they need to spend money with a SWaM certified business, they can look for your business that way. Again, we have the contract set-asides and then the business growth. It helps build credibility and attract partnerships with other state agencies. Who qualifies? So small businesses, you have to meet the standards for a small business. What is that standard? In the state of Virginia, it just means that at least 51% of your business has to be owned and controlled by 1 or more U.S. citizens or legal residents, and together with their affiliates. So you have to be 51% U.S. owned. You have to have 250 or fewer employees and annual gross receipts of $10 million or less. That's a pretty big business to me. So small business can be a wide variety of businesses. Second designation is woman-owned. So you have to be at least 51% owned by 1 or more women who are U.S. citizens or legal resident aliens. Or in the case of a corporation, partnership, or limited liability company, at least 51% of the equity ownership interest is owned by 1 or more women who are U.S. citizens. Then minority-owned businesses, pretty much the same as woman-owned, except it's 51% or more owned by minority individuals who are U.S. citizens or legal resident aliens. And minorities are defined as African American, Native American. There are Asian American. There are a couple others, but all of that is listed on the SBDC website.
With that, if it incorporates LGBTQIA individuals or business owners,
there was nothing on the website about that, but there are some other designations outside of SWaM. So there are disabled designations and veteran-owned business designations. But today's topic was just focused on the SWaM certification. But you can go to the SBDC website and learn about those other designations that are available. So these are the SWaM certifications that we're talking about: the small business, woman-owned, minority-owned. And then you can also be designated as a micro business, which my business is considered a micro business. And you have to be a certified small business by the department. And then you can get the micro business designation if you have no more than 25 employees, and no more than 3 million in average annual revenue over a 3-year period. So a lot of businesses in our area are going to qualify for that micro designation. And there are set-asides for micro businesses. So, and we'll talk about how you learn about those different set-asides as we go forward through this. Any questions so far on, any questions from the audience on Zoom? All right. So step 1 is being prepared. As a small business owner, I know time is our most precious commodity, and it takes some time to get this certification going because you have to collect all of these different documents, but help yourself out and have these ready in advance. I recommend that you put these documents in a folder on your computer so that you have them easily accessible and ready to upload into your online application. They do take paper applications, but they're very cumbersome. So it's much, much easier to do that application online. I do have a handout. I did a mini presentation for my case group. And so I printed that presentation for everybody who's here today. I also printed the list of all of the official documents that you need. It's 2-sided. And so I have these to give to everybody today. So you don't necessarily have to write all of that down. But this just gives you an idea. You want to make sure that you have proof of U.S. citizenship or resident legal alien status. You want to have your most recent federal business tax return and the previous 2 years. So they want to see that you've been in business and that you're actually filing a business tax return.
So based on that right there, do you have to be in business for 3 years before you can?
No, you can be a new business. You just have to provide your most recent tax return if you haven't been in business for at least 3 years. First page of most recent 4 quarters of federal 941. That's if you have employees. So that's going to prove the number of employees that you have for them. The documented proof of ownership. So how did you acquire your business? Did you get a business loan? If you did, then you can use that as proof of ownership, as long as that business loan is in your name. Then resume of your officers, copies of professional licenses and permits, anything that establishes you as a business. The EIN paperwork from the IRS. So all of that, you just want to have together in a folder, your business license from the town of Christiansburg or the town of Blacksburg. That's also helpful to have. So anything that you can do to establish that you are a legal business in the U.S. All right. So once you get the preparation out of the way, then you want to go to the EVA website. EVA stands for Electronic Virginia. So this is where you register your business, and it's super simple. You can see that, you know, I just copied the first page of their website, and you want to sell to Virginia. So you just click on I sell to Virginia, and it'll take you through the process. It tells you where to get started, and it just walks you right through that registration, which is very, very simple.
Question from the chat. Does LLC count as proof of ownership, the documents, I guess?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yes. And for those that are online, how do you want to, you can come by the chamber because I'll leave all the extra copies that I printed. So if you want to come by the chamber, you can pick those up, or
I'll scan them in and send them out with the presentation.
oh, that's even better. So you'll get these documents. They're also readily available on the SBDC website. Everything, all the information that I have, I pulled directly from there. The EVA is fun and frustrating. So be ready. Sometimes the state is not real good at putting together websites. But this is where you're going to find all of those opportunities. once you getting registered is really easy, but then finding the opportunities is a little more difficult. But the nice thing is that they do have step-by-step tutorials. So right on the website, you can find that. You can also go to YouTube. I went to YouTube and found a step-by-step tutorial on filling out the SWaM certification application. So if you can't find it on Google, you can probably find it on YouTube. All right. So get registered with EVA, and then you're going to complete your application. So you're just going to go to the SVSD website, certification SWaM, and you're going to fill out your application. It does take you through it step by step, literally. I mean, it starts out by asking you for your name. So it's super simple when you go on the website. Let's see, what else do I want to talk about here?
Can you give a pro tip when you register an EVA?
Yes, pro tip for registering.
So when you register an EVA, and to make your job of finding opportunities easier, there are commodity codes, NIGP commodity codes, National Institute of Governmental Procurement. And essentially they are, I think they're 5 or 6 digit codes that your business would qualify under. So there is like printing decals, printing booklets, printing pamphlets, printing papers, printing color.
Casey loves that one.
So if you are in that business and you can do all those things, you would select all of those codes. And then here's what happens. As a buyer, when I go out and I have a job and I need to print decals, I'm going to go into EVA. I'm going to put my job out and say, I need this commodity code. And I'm going to use my best judgment as a lay person. So think like a lay person. As a lay person, I'm going to use my best judgment of what commodity code to use. And then whatever businesses are registered under that commodity code will get an email saying, hey, Crystal at DMV needs decal printing under this commodity code. Here's the link to the opportunity. Can you provide this? So that's for anything $10,000 and over. If it's under $10,000, you want to be registered as a micro business if you qualify, because we have to go to micros first before we go to smalls. So that's my 2 pro tips for EVA. Make sure you choose all the commodity codes that you would fall under. And if you're not sure what somebody thinks your business would qualify as, ask somebody stupid like me that doesn't know anything about your business. We can tell you, hey, I think your business is I would qualify Terry's business as both ceramics and art and maybe therapy, like art therapy. You never know. So there are all sorts of different things that, as a lay person, I might think about your business that you may not qualify your business as.
And the nice thing about what Crystal was talking about is that there are tutorials on the EVA website. And as a purchaser or as a supplier, you can go to those supplier videos and watch those tutorials on how to select your commodity codes.
Is there a list of codes just out there that we can look at?
Yes, on the EVA website. Yes. And you can, if you're not sure what code to use, you can type in cleaning services, and then all of the commodity codes under cleaners or under cleaning would pop up. And you can decide which ones are the best ones for you to use for your business. I recommend using more rather than less, because the more it might, if you get notifications, it might clog up your inbox a little bit, but you're going to see more opportunities than if you just select the major headings. So be sure to, when you're going in there, look for those subheadings. For me, I put art therapy, art painting. I put painting. I put, there was nothing for team building. That's the one I really wanted. They should create a commodity code for team building. But just look for as many commodity codes as you can add, because that's going to help you see more opportunities. All righty. Let's see. then once you submit your application, you have to wait. It's a patience game. It takes 60 to 90 days for them to review your information. You may get a request for more information, but they will email you. And then once you're certified, you know, after that long wait, it's going to feel like forever before you get certified. Yes.
So I made a call to them the other day and they said 60 business days,
Yes. 60 to 90 business days.
which is longer than the 60 days.
Yes.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
always
so-
say this day, sorry.
The nice thing is though, is that on the SD website, when you go in there, there is a certification status. So you can check it on a regular basis. I would not obsess over it because like all government entities, they move slowly. So don't expect it to happen really quickly. And then the other thing is, once you are certified, they will issue you a certificate that says that you're SWaM certified, that you can put in a frame and put in your business if you have a brick and mortar. They'll send you a HTML code that you can put on your website, but you have to request that. So once you're certified, then shoot them an email and say, hey, I'm certified. Here's my certification number, because they do send you that. And then they'll send you your certificate and your HTML code that you can use on your website. But ask for it specifically. After certification, what's next? So market that you're a certified SWaM business. You never know who you're going to run into at a chamber function, a business after hours, or another networking event that might be in procurement with the state. We're around people from Virginia Tech all the time, and they have SWaM certification rules for spending money. So they're always looking for SWaM businesses. Same thing with Radford University, NRCC. I pulled right off the VCU website. It tells you EVA is the Commonwealth of Virginia's online procurement system. Vendors are strongly encouraged to register in EVA. And while the university is not absolutely prohibited from doing business with non-EVA registered users, there is a definite competitive advantage for EVA registered suppliers. So it's right on VCU's website. Same thing if you go to Virginia Tech Procurement, they have a procurement page. And right on there, it tells you, get SWaM certified. So it's worth your time and effort. EVA is used by more than 13,000 state agency and local government buyers to announce their bidding opportunities, to get quotes, and to place orders for goods and services. So by registering with EVA and becoming SWaM certified, you're going to have a competitive advantage. SWaM certification doesn't serve as a guarantee or of any work or anything. It doesn't say that you'll receive the contract, but it does give you that competitive edge. So it's worth the time and effort to sit down, gather your documents, and apply. SWaM certifications are valid for 5 years. So mark your calendar and make sure that you do your renewal. They will send you a renewal about 6 months prior to your renewal date. That way you have plenty of time to get those updated documents into, and it's not as hefty a situation to recertify as it is when you first get certified. And then always utilize that EVA portal, look out for new opportunities. Resources for SWaM certification help is you can find that on the SBSD website. Our local small business development center is called Roanoke and New River Valley Small Business. But their website is still just roanokesmallbusiness.org. So you can go to that and you can find some local resources. And then the Virginia Department of Small Business and Supplier Diversity is the big resource for that. And there's lots and lots of information on their website. I do have that in all of the printouts, so that's available. So that's the long and the short of SWaM certification. It's not really that difficult. We just go on the website and follow along. As long as you have your documents in order ahead of time, it's a very, very smooth process.
Do you register for EVA before or after getting your SWaM certification?
You register before. Yeah, you want to register your business for EVA because part of the application asks you if you are registered on EVA.
And I'll tell you, even before you become a SWaM or micro business, if there's no other business in the area that is under your category that we need, we can still use you. If it's under $10,000 without competition, we just have to look for that micro or small first. So registering for EVA, even if you don't go through with the SWaM piece, is still a valuable, not as valuable as SWaM.
Mind reiterating the $10,000 rule just for clarification?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
So in Virginia, we can purchase, as a state agency, we can purchase up to $10,000 without competition. However, it's set aside for micro businesses. So we have to reach out to a micro business first. And then if we have no micro business in the area, then we can reach out to a small business. And if there's no small business, then we can reach out to a large business or any business, just one that's not registered. Anything between $10,000 and $100,000 is set aside for small businesses. So we don't have to go to a micro first, but it's encouraged. And micros and small businesses are given preference in awards for those bid between $10,000 and $100,000. Over $100,000, it's a free for all. However, over $100,000, I do English some days. If you are competing for an IFB, it's a little bit different, right? But if you're competing for a request for proposals, an RFP, that means that you're going to partner with a larger company to complete whatever project they have. They're going to get points based on if you're a SWaM or not. So when we're evaluating them, let's say that you are, I just had one. Here's one I just had. We put out an RFP for a company to manage all 93 of our customer service centers and our waste stations and the headquarters in Richmond, which houses 1,000. So we put out one company for that, but they needed to get janitorial, lawn care, pest control, trash debris removal, shredding services, snow removal, and there were like 2 other things, right, that they had to manage. They needed individual contractors at each of our locations to do that. So here in Christiansburg, we needed a snow remover. We needed a lawn care company. We needed a pest control company. We needed a shredding company. We needed a trash removal company. We needed a janitorial, like all that stuff. But they had to subcontract through the one vendor. So the vendor would have gotten points based on how many of those subcontractors were SWaM. Does that make sense? So being SWaM is a really valuable tool for the state. I mean, we beg people in this area, and especially in far Southwest Virginia too, to please get certified, because it's so hard west of Roanoke to find a SWaM certified, micro certified business that we can just call and say, hey, I don't have to have competition. And 95% of our purchases are under $10,000 at the state.
When you get to that over $10,000, how does that impact the timeline? Obviously, I know it's going to be different, but is it you have to have a specific number of days that you're open for bids, or how does that?
So the state requirement minimum is 3 days. I will say most agencies do 10 days. Just to have fair and open competition, because as procurement officers, we want to have as much competition as possible, right? So we'll leave things open for usually 10 days.
2 questions. Micro is under 3 million in sales, and that's under 25 employees, correct?
That's under 3 million in sales over a 3-year period.
Okay. Roughly $1 million in sales per year and under 25 employees.
Under 25 employees.
The other is, so in that scenario you just mentioned, subcontractors, do they not count as employees? Is that how you would bid as a micro business? You would be the sub out for someone else?
Yeah, so you cannot count as an employee because then you just are part of their business and your business doesn't actually count because it's in you as a person and not your business.
Okay,
You just have to be careful not to try to circumvent the system, because if they catch you, there are huge fines. And then you won't be able to do business with the state ever again. So you have to make sure that legally your business is a small or micro business, and the state will certify that. And then you can do business as.
Oh, people try to get whatever on the system all the time. I had a guy that he bid on a truck and then he literally ghosted me. And in Virginia, if you do that and I have to bid something back out again because you don't produce, guess what? You're paying the difference between what I have to pay to that other guy and what you bid. So it is not in your interest to mess something up. And that's another thing. If you're gonna bid with the state, please be honest in your bids and bid what you can do. I have a guy that was so desperate to get in with the DMV, he bid something that should have been $93,000 at $40,000. And then he came back later and he goes, oh, I made a mistake in the bid. And I said, I'm sorry, in the vendor's manual, it says a mistake after so many days and not noticed, it's not a mistaken error, in this place. I'm sorry, you stuck. And he goes, well, how do I get out of this? I said, well, I can bid this back out. He goes, well, they're just gonna charge you the $97,000. I said, well, then no, I'm still paying the 40-some thousand. You're paying $50,000 whether you do the work or not. And he said, well, I'll just do the work and take the hit because I don't want to get in bad with the DMV and with the state because they could then be debarred from doing business with anybody in the state, and you don't want to do that.
so obviously it's gonna change per industry, but can you talk a little bit to the return aspect? How many contracts could someone look at per year and realistically say, this is what I would get being SWaM? I know it's gonna change.
It will vary based on the size of your business and what you do. I can speak for myself as a SWaM certified micro business. I do a lot of business with Virginia Tech. Some of my largest events are at Virginia Tech. For example, every year I do at least 4 events for sorority groups. And those are in excess of 100 people each. I don't do that kind of business in my little brick and mortar. So that's huge for my business to be able to do those large events. So, you have to look at the opportunities that are out there and is it worth it for you? I think for all the small businesses in Southwest Virginia, absolutely, because like Crystal was saying, procurement officers have to spend this money with small and micro businesses, but they're having trouble finding them in Southwest Virginia. So look around this room. Every one of us should be SWaM certified. Take the time and go ahead and do it because there are opportunities out there no matter what you do. Whether you work you have a graphic design company, whether you're a dance instructor, a cleaning services person. I don't know who all else we have in this room, real estate agents. I mean, the state is always looking for opportunities to do business with small businesses in our area.
I think it's fair to say that you're a pretty niche.
Yeah,
Business,
very niche
so,
business.
Yeah.
And so if I can get a lot of business from the state, y'all could probably get more, depending on what you do.
I have a question, and this might be for you. As far as when they put the bid out as to what they need, do they usually give like a timeline of when they need it done? Kind of make sure, like, that just in my world, that's like really important. So it's making sure I can get it done in the.
Yeah. No, for printing, we would definitely do that.
Okay.
So each commodity is different,
Mhm.
right? So it depends on what the market's like, what the commodity is, because we're doing market research. So yeah, it really depends. But normally for printing, yeah, we're gonna give you a deadline.
So I'll give you another example of business that I received only because I was in EVA and I'm SWaM certified. There is the contractors, I forget what their total acronym is, but they're all contractors and they do a convention at the Greenbrier every year. And the spouses of all of these contractors are there, and they look for activities for these spouses to participate in. So they found me through the SWaM vendor. It was almost a $10,000 input into my business. I never, ever, ever get anything like that. But it was 4 events over 2 days. They paid for me to stay at the Greenbrier and for my staff to stay at the Greenbrier. They paid me for the event. I played golf at the Greenbrier on them. Okay, so. And one day I did chunky knit blankets, and the next day I did a canvas painting class, and the next day I did a ceramic piece. And so I had those 4 events over those 2 days. Man, it was hard work, but it was so worth it. And I would have never known about that opportunity had I not been registered in EVA. They reached out to me. I didn't even reach out to them, which was fantastic. Yes.
Do you, I've been trying to ask.
Yeah, go ahead, Jamie.
Do you have to, once you get SWaM certified, in order to keep up your certification, I saw it every 5 years, but do you have to use your certification? Like, do you have to do business through EVA to keep it up? So there's no like requirement once you're certified, because that would be something for me, would be worrying about trying to.
No, you just have to be one of those designations. You,
Yeah, okay.
you don't have to do business with the state. That's the opportunity that you get.
Yeah, okay.
I
just wanted to make sure there wasn't like a requirement of set amount of business.
You have to do
No.
X amount of business or.
No, there is no set amount to be SWaM certified. Yes, ma'am.
So when I look at the opportunities at EVA, they're usually awarded to. So how does that play into also?
I'll let Crystal answer that one.
So it depends on the amount of the bid. If it is so there's 2 things that play into this. If it is between $10,000 and $100,000, then it's gonna be the lowest responsible bidder that is a micro certified bidder, as long as they're within 5% of the lowest bid. So let's say that I'm King Joe and I have the lowest bid because I'm Mr. Big Man, and you're a micro, but you're 3% higher than I am. I'm not in contention anymore. It's automatically awarded, even if you're higher, okay? The other half of this is something called reciprocal preferences, which basically means if some other state gives their vendors a preference, like let's say North Carolina says, if a North Carolina vendor bids and there's a Virginia vendor, even though they're $10,000 less, it doesn't matter because we give our preference to North Carolina vendors only. Then that can also play into it depending on who bids and what state they're from. And what preference is then given to our Virginia vendor and our low bid vendor. And so there's lots of different little things that play into it. But typically, if you're a micro and you're within 5%, we're gonna go with you.
Any other questions? Are there any other questions online? Awesome.
You said payment takes a while. Is it just because it's from the state? Do they have like a set amount of days? I know, everybody's gonna laugh when I ask.
Nope,
Just
because
wanted
it's
to
a,
know.
it's a running joke with me because so it's typically net 30, but don't expect it before net 60. Honestly,
Or-
when I get paid by Virginia Tech, it's sometimes 60 days out. It's worth it, but I have to wait. So if you don't have a lot of operating cash, which I don't, I don't maintain a huge bank account, it hurts for a while. It's a tight squeeze, but we make it work because it's business that we wouldn't otherwise get.
Yeah, and I will say, I mean, not as a SWaM vendor, but outside of that, with the work I've done with state agencies and the universities, even if my contracts typically say net 15, they'll send it back and be like, nope, sorry, I can't have that language on there. Net 30 is fine, but it's like Terry said, there's a lot of red tape. There's a lot of things to jump through to get to that, but
That's why
It's
they have
there.
so much money in me. They keep it in there and
They
take
keep
it
it
out.
real safe.
Take
Yeah.
a credit card, seriously, if you can take a credit card, you'll be paid immediately. We, at DMV, we pay, I would say 90% of our bills with credit cards. I mean, we just. And if you have to add that 3% on there, it says, there's even legislatively, it says you can add a percentage based on a credit card fee, but it cannot exceed the whatever percentage is in the law, and I can't remember right now.
Yeah,
what
it's
it is.
3.2%.
Ah, see, Terry got it, because I don't own
Yes,
it.
because I do ask for that when it comes to.
Yeah, so I mean,
Yeah,
there are
those
things
state
that you can do.
contracts.
We want you to earn a profit as a business. We want you to make a profit. We want you to be successful because we want to be able to use you again and we want to be able to come back to you. But we do have the Virginia Prompt Pay Act. And I'm not gonna hide my head in shame. I will say that we are not very prompt when we pay, even though we have the Prompt Pay Act. It requires us to, within 30 days of receipt of an invoice that is not disputed. So please make sure your dates, your information, all your dollar amounts are right. Please do not have tax on that bad boy, because that will come back to you as a dispute in a heartbeat. I think what other tips I could give.
That's about that. Those
Yeah.
are the big ones.
Yeah, but if you can get us a non-disputed invoice, we can go ahead and have it in. Make sure you have a PO before you start work. I had an artist, and Terry, this is gonna hurt your heart.
Mm.
Last year at a leadership conference, I had an artist come in and do a canvas painting workshop for all 100 of our leaders. And then they could not get paid because they proceeded to do this work without a PO. And so they were kind of out of that money right then. PO is a purchase order. So, sorry, I talk in different language. Purchase order, so purchase order will come from Eva that says this is your authority to go forward with the work. Please, if somebody tells you to go forward with work without a purchase order, tell them, I'm sorry, Crystal said never, ever, ever to do that. And I like getting paid.
I believe, who's Crystal?
Yeah. And just be like, don't worry about it. Just, she knows.
And each entity is still gonna be different, so I've not done this for Virginia, but like I'm registered for the university in Pennsylvania for the same work. And when I was charging under 5,000 for them, they could only write us a check. The minute we charged, in 1 year it was 4,999. The next year, when it was actual 5,000, we had to go through their process to become a registered vendor directly through their school, so they could then do direct deposit, because they didn't have any other way of paying without their bylaws. So also double check with who you're doing this work.
And I know at DMV, we can pay up to 100K in a credit card.
The other thing is the W-9. Virginia has its own W-9 form, and you have to fill that one out. It's different from the federal W-9. So, and that's listed, you can get a copy of that on most state agency websites. Virginia Tech actually has a link on their website. So if you want to do business with Virginia Tech, go to that link and fill out the Virginia sub W-9.
The COVA W.
Okay. Well, thank you all. I hope every one of you becomes SWaM certified and gets to do business with the state. Starts bringing some of that money down here to Southwest Virginia, because there's billions of dollars on the table.
Know that we're getting ready at DMV to start a solicitation for all of those services I listed: janitorial, pest control, shredding, trash and debris removal, snow removal, lawn care, HVAC preventative maintenance, electrical, plumbing, carpentry, flooring, ceilings, wallpaper, drywall. I don't know. We're putting out all the trade services soon, so.
What would you
Yeah.
say is a good measure for someone to be going in and checking these things regularly? 'Cause it's mostly messages being sent to you on Eva, not you going on Eva and seeing this listing and being like, oh, I'm going to respond, right?
So once a month, I go through Eva myself. I look at it, I see what's coming up, because usually most bids that they're putting out and most RFPs that they want to do are at least 30 days out. Some are 6 months. So going on there, and it really too would depend on your business, because some businesses are going to be used by state agencies more than others. I would think that a printing service is going to have a lot of opportunities within those. So you might want to look at it every other week. Just set aside 10 minutes and just go through your commodity codes and see what's out there. Because you can filter it down by your own commodity codes. So you don't have to see every RFP or every quote request or bid request that's out there. You can just filter it down to yours.
So is there a submitted, in EVA or the SWaM? So if I've submitted and I've got to wait 90 days, that's a lot of potential capital that I'm losing. Because I'm not SWaM certified and I'm waiting on the state to do it. Is there an option for them to see that we're in the process to be SWaM?
No, but you can still utilize EVA and you could still put in those bids. That doesn't mean that you're eliminated from the competition. It just means that you don't have that competitive edge. But still, if there's not a SWaM certified business in this area that does what you do, then you can still qualify and receive those contracts.
Will they tell you if like, put in the bid, like why you didn't get selected, like we found a lower cost, wait, somebody put in a lower cost and you just.
They list who received the bid.
Okay.
It's very transparent. It has to be for the state. So you would know who your competition is and who received that bid. You might not necessarily know what they bid.
Anybody in here ever had a debrief? What's a debrief? Anytime you are unsuccessful with a bid or request for proposal, you can ask the procurement officer for a debrief and they'll tell you why you didn't get it. I had one ask for a debrief one time at Virginia Tech when I worked there. Please don't tell anybody this. And they asked why they didn't get the bid and I said, honestly, because your type was too small. My committee could not read their proposal because they wanted to fit all their information into the number of pages that I had given them to respond. So they made their font like a size 8.
Oh, jeez.
And my people were like, if they can't even be realistic and get down to what we asked them to get down to, no. And so I told them, like, I'm sorry, you messed yourself up with your small type print. And so
That's sad that it could be
it
something
is
that.
it can be
That's
that
simple.
trivial, but I mean, if you can't follow basic directions, when we ask you for a type 11 font and you can't follow basic directions, sorry. You know, I don't want to have to put up with you for the next 5 years of our contract or whatever it is if you can't follow basic directions in the first place, right? So.
Yeah, you gotta realize you're not just working with the agency, you're working with those people. And as people, we all have our own idiosyncrasies and little things that, you know, we might not know. If, you know, there's things as a procurement officer that Crystal doesn't know about your business. All she can know is what you put on that form. So be specific. And daggone it, use ChatGPT because AI will help you word things so much better than what you can word it.
You know, I wanted, most everybody in here is a business owner. I don't know, this is sort of has to do with ownership. I don't know if anybody's heard of the Beneficial Ownership Information Act. Have people heard of that yet?
Yes.
Okay.
Some have, some may not have. Does anybody know about this?
So the beneficial ownership information, hey, everybody, I'm Alan Waters. I work here at the chamber. If you are subscribed to our newsletter, under our member news section, there is an article about this for everyone to click on that will tell you how to do it, all the steps. As a small business owner, everyone has to fill out this beneficial ownership information before the end of 2024. And if you don't, you are subject to potentially a $500 fine per day until you have it done. If you have registered your business in 2024, you have 90 days from the day you registered it to do this. This is a new financial crime enforcement agency through the federal government called FinCEN, that they are the ones responsible for going through this. And what it's doing is if anyone in your company is an owner, a C-suite executive could potentially make money from the running of the business, they have to fill out the information. And it's essentially saying, this is my name, this is my social security number. It's really the same information you've already submitted through your tax documents, but it's verifying that that is happening. And it's been done in a way that's trying to combat embezzlement, fraud, but also money that has been used to fund terrorism.
Well, then the new thing is they have to show a picture ID. That's something new. To submit a picture ID.
So yeah, if you have not done that yet, don't be afraid. You've got until the end of the year if you've been registered. If you're like me and you put it in the newsletter every week and you've not done it yourself, it's okay. I keep reading it and going, I need to do that. And the next week I go,
Next week,
I
you've
need
got
to
only
do that.
3 months left.
Yes.
So we're in Q4, so everybody get ready.
But a lot of people won't do it then.
Right, yes, it's not something that's been
Yeah.
huge, but yeah, every owner has to do it, and like I said, it is a $500 per day fine. Should the beneficial ownership information. Also, I don't know why the newsletter went out on Thursday. I don't know how that happened.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. I appreciate your time and attention, and I look forward to seeing a lot more SWaM certified vendors in Southwest Virginia. Thank you.